Hi friends, welcome back to Nurse's Nook and Corner. Come, it's time to let's make it easy. If you didn't subscribe the channel, don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon to get the uploaded videos. Today in this video, we are going to see about FastTag Bits PME Part 3. Already in the Part 1 and 2, we have seen in detail regarding FastTags. Today in Part 3, we are going to see about Bits PME. In Part 3, Bits PME consists of bowel movement, indwelling catheter, de-escalation of drugs, sore pressure, positioning, morning care and eye care. Let's see one by one in detail. First, let's see about bowel movement. In bowel movement, what we have to see? We have to see whether the patient have diarrhea or constipation. Constipation is defined as absence of evacuation of bowel contents for more than 3 consecutive days, and whereas diarrhea is defined as 2 to 3 liquid stools per day or more than 250 gram of liquid stool per day. In diarrhea, we have to look whether the patient is infective or non-infective. But most commonly, most of the patients are non-infective in etiology. The non-infective causes includes feed intolerance, oral medication like laxatives, potassium chloride syrup and phosphorus supplements, whereas infective causes include Clostridium difficile or antibiotic associated diarrhea. Diarrhea can be further classified as secretory and osmotic in nature. Osmotic diarrhea is of non-infective etiology, whereas secretory diarrheas arise from infective etiologies. The test used to differentiate between the two is the stool osmolar gap. It is the difference between measured and calculated stool osmolality. If the difference is more than 100, it is suggestive of osmotic diarrhea. Management. Feeds not to be stopped. Instead, add soluble fibers and semi-elemental feeds. The other common cause in ICU related to bowel movement is constipation. So, causes of constipation includes opioids, dyselectrolytemias, most commonly hypokalemia, ileus, Clostridium difficile, and intestinal obstruction. Management for constipation includes treating the metabolic causes like hypokalemia, hyperglycemia with holding naloxone and opioids. Laxative enemas consider where appropriate. Next one is indwelling catheter. Catheters are commonly used in critically ill patients. They are used for diagnostic, monitoring as well as therapeutic purposes. Commonly used ones are vascular catheters like central venous catheter, dialysis catheter and arterial catheters. Others include Foley's catheter, intercostal drains, surgical drains, lumbar drains, endotracheal tube, feeding tube and others. Daily evaluation has to be made regarding the continued need for these lines, and when no longer needed, they should be promptly removed in order to prevent from infections. Next one is de-escalation of drugs. Antimicrobial therapy is a very common and frequent therapeutic strategy in critical care. Since antibiotic resistance is on the rise and leads to poor clinical outcomes, it is the responsibility of every healthcare member to prevent their excessive use. Many protocols are in place to promote optimal use of antibiotics, including prompt de-escalation when feasible. Reducing the use of antimicrobial agent also helps in reducing unnecessary healthcare costs for the patient. Therefore, Several clinical and laboratory-based algorithms have been proposed for the same. Hospital antibiotic stewardship program and infection control team generally monitor antibiotic usage and de-escalation strategies. Next one is sow pressure. What you have to check? You have to check the risk assessment of skin with the help of Braden scale. When you have to check at the time of admission and daily reassessment to be done to monitor the risk assessment of skin for pressure ulcer. Next, you have to assess the push scale. Push scale is healing scale of pressure ulcer. So once the patient have the pressure ulcer, you have to use the push scale. If the patient does not have pressure ulcer, you have to do the risk assessment with the help of Braden scale. So daily assessment with proper care includes alphabet, dressing, and adequate nutrition for the patient. For detail, you can see in the previous video for the push scale and Braden scale. Next one is positioning. What to do? You have to change a patient position in bed every 2 hours to keep the blood flow constant. This helps the skin stay healthy and prevent bed sores. Turning a patient is a good time to check the skin for redness and sores. Morning care. What to do? You have to do morning bed bath, mouth care with chlorhexidine, change of tubing and dressing, thorough skin assessment to be done during the morning care. Eye care to be given because the health of the front surface of the eye, particularly the cornea, depends on the ability to produce tears, to blink, and to close the eyes with rest or sleep. These can be impaired on the intensive care unit, whether by disease or treatment. Therefore, what to do? You have to protect the eyes by cleaning regularly, close eyes with eye pads to prevent damage from light, and can provide moisture creams as per the doctor's orders. Thanks for watching. If you have any doubts or suggestion, you can give in the comment box. Thank you friends. Keep watching and supporting. If you didn't subscribe the channel, don't forget to subscribe the channel. Follow us in Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, as well as in YouTube. If you like the video, press the like icon and share it to your friends. Thank you.